Believe it or not, we had on the Blaze gun questionnaire, where do you stand on guns and gun control? We had let me find it here for sure. I want to make sure I get it right. 4,835,000 something. Shoot, where is it now? Anyway,
so
almost
4.8 million?
Yeah, almost 5 million responses.
Jeez.
On the Blaze poll on guns. And we have all of the information for you. And it's pretty amazing. And a lot of information on where the American people now stand on guns and gun control. And how many Americans own guns. Today we're going to do that. And tonight I'm going to give you my analysis of where I think what's going to happen here in the next year or so. And I really hope I'm much, much, much less wrong than I have been on things like the Arab Spring, because this one affects you. This one is you. And what is the right path? Tonight at 5 o'clock, we'll go into that. Tomorrow, we have David Barton on for a full hour tomorrow night on the history of the Second Amendment and the presidents who have faced emergencies before. And what did they do? But today I want to start. We're going to get into the gun control thing here in a second, but I want to start with Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg, over the weekend, unveiled a new initiative to limit supply of prescription painkillers to the city's emergency rooms as a way to describe a way to combat what he described as a growing addiction problem in New York. Now, if there's one place that I would think that the addiction problem would not be coming from, it would be the emergency rooms. And this is a medical decision. Now, if it's a and you'll never get this part of the story. If it is a problem of addiction coming from the emergency rooms, that means the people who use the emergency rooms as their primary doctor, usually the poorest among us, or the immigrant population. If that is, or immigrant, I shouldn't say that, illegal population. If that's the case, then we've got something else going on that we need to talk about. But he says it's a growing addiction problem. Well, that means that your doctors are knowingly or unknowingly, maybe, making the wrong calls. That should be something we should talk about. If our doctors in our emergency rooms can't tell the difference between real pain and a drug addict, then we have a problem with the doctors. But what Bloomberg is deciding to do is to limit the number of painkillers and the amount of painkillers. And so if there is an emergency, the hospitals will not have the right amount of painkillers. If you come in and you are really seriously in pain, to quote the mayor of New York, he said the city hospitals we control are going to do it, but we're going to do it, and we're urging all other hospitals to do it. Voluntary guidelines. Somebody said, then there may not be enough painkillers for the poor who use the emergency rooms as their primary care doctor. He said, quote, number one, there's no evidence of that. Number two, supposing this is true, so you don't get enough painkillers. And I'm quoting, and you have to suffer a little bit. The other side of the coin is people are dying, and there's nothing perfect. There's nothing you could possibly do where somebody isn't going to suffer. And it's always the same group claiming everybody is heartless. Come on, there's a big problem. Wow, my gosh.
So there's that many people dying in New York from painkillers.
No, from painkiller
addiction. Yeah, so there's that many dying for that we have to.
Not only is there that many people dying from painkiller addiction, apparently there are so many people that are dying from painkiller addiction, and they're getting addicted or they're getting their drugs from the emergency room.
Yeah. To where he doesn't care. Well, you're going to have to suffer a little bit if you come in there and there's a shortage of painkillers.
So the law-abiding citizens,
unreal,
the people who are who are going to the emergency room because they really are in pain.
Broken arm, or in New York, just got shot.
You're going to have to suffer a bit.
Yeah.
So Bloomberg can take care of another problem that he doesn't really even fully explain how this is even going to help. What are we turning into? This is the nanny state. He knows better, and he's going to take care of it. First, it's your sodas. Now it's your painkillers in the hospitals. And what kills me, it's a politician telling the hospitals exactly how to prescribe medicine. If you don't think that the new health care laws developed by that guy are not going to have politicians deciding who gets care and who doesn't, here's Bloomberg. You're going to have to suffer a little bit. Oh well, you can't have that.
It's not a perfect
medicine.
world.
It's not a perfect world.
Wow.
And what are you going to do?
And
wow.
This shouldn't be surprising. This is the exact way he handles the Second Amendment. He takes the rights away from the vast, overwhelming majority of people who handle these things correctly, and punishes them because there's a very small percentage of people who use them incorrectly.
And here it is. We talk about drugs, heroin, crack, and marijuana, but this is one of the big outbursts, and it's a lot worse around the country than it is here. It's kids and adults getting painkillers and using them for entertainment purposes or whatever field purposes as opposed to what they're designed for. If you break a leg, you're going to be in pain. Nothing wrong with getting something that reduces the pain. But if you get 20 days worth of pills and you only need them for 3 days, there's 17 days of pills laying there. Invariably, some of the kids are going to find them, or you're going to take them.
That
and
happens in every case.
And you're going to get addicted to them.
Invariably, you will get addicted to them, and invariably, kids will find them and start taking them. Well, that's it. There's a lot of variability in that scenario. In fact, it's the vast minority of cases.
How about parents? Again, parents are what? Idiots. They're idiotic.
Trash.
They have no
trash.
Yeah, they have no say in what their children do. They have no control over anything their kids do. Again, you're taking everything away from the parents and the family.
And I know a lot of people that have painkillers. Tanya is a great example of it. If you give me painkillers, I'm going to take them. That's why I have painkillers. She takes care of them. They're in a safe in our house that I don't have the combination to. I don't want the combination to that safe. If I need a painkiller, she gives it to me. And she looks at me. You really need a painkiller? I'm dying here. That's how it happens in my house because I'm a raging alcoholic. I know. I'm a responsible adult. She has the painkiller. She puts it in there. What's the problem with that? That's being a responsible adult. Most people I know who are not, for instance, Tanya, not an alcoholic. Pat, not an alcoholic. You have painkillers in your house because you have a horrible back. Mm-hmm. Do you eat them all? No. You take them when you need them. That's the way every non-alcoholic deals with it. You take them when you need them. Mm-hmm. It's only the people who have problems, and if they can't self-regulate, why is everybody else? Can you imagine if nobody in my house could have painkillers because I would take them? And the doctor would say, oh, I'm sorry, you've got an alcoholic in the house. You can't have those painkillers. I only give you 3 days. And my wife's in serious pain. Excuse me?
Yeah, you're gonna have
that's for us to decide how we do them. And I appreciate your concern. That's why the doctor should say, do you have a safe place to keep these? Because your husband's an alcoholic. Can you handle that? How's the family? Yes, we can handle that. That's the conversation that we have with our doctors.
And you've had that very conversation.
Yes, we have.
Recently.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't want these painkillers. I don't want them around me. My wife has to take them. Don't put them around me.
Yeah. And as a person who, doesn't care about painkillers, I want them when I have pain. I don't want to run back out to the pharmacy to get a refilled prescription because Glenn in another town might take them.
Right, exactly. My wife was in the hospital over vacation, and I had to take her in the middle of the night. She was in excruciating pain, and they gave her fentanyl. And I'm like, holy cow, fentanyl. And she was going through it every 30 minutes. 30 minutes, they were giving her another shot of fentanyl. I am really concerned about fentanyl. Fentanyl is one of the worst drugs. It's the best drug for pain. It is one of the worst drugs you can possibly give to somebody.
Well, they say after one use, you can be totally addicted.
Very bad. Very, very bad drug.
Yeah.
Don't ever, ever, ever give me fentanyl. I had it one time, and I was addicted to it. Remember when I had my surgery a few years ago, I went through a bad withdrawals because I was on it for 3 days. Really, really, really bad. And I needed it. We're in the hospital. They start giving her fentanyl. And I'm like, whoa, what fentanyl? What, is there anything else we can give her? And they're like, her pain level is too far off the charts. Okay, good. So now we've had a conversation about it, and we're going to give her fentanyl. And I looked at her and I said, honey, you're getting fentanyl. You understand that? And she's like, yeah, I just want it to stop. At that point, there is no reason for my wife to be in pain. There is no reason. We're not living in India. There is no reason for anybody in this country to ever be in pain. If you are under a doctor's care or you're in a hospital, make the pain go away. There is no reason for anybody to be in pain unless it's therapeutic pain where I'm sorry, if we keep you doped up, you're never going to get out of bed and you got to get out of bed. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. But there's no reason for pain. There's no reason for a doctor to ever walk into the emergency room and say, I'm sorry, you're going to have to suffer a little bit because we're out of medication. We are not Mexico. Good God, we'll be lucky to be Mexico at the end of this.
And is there anyone on earth who believes Michael Bloomberg, when he's in pain, is not going to get every piece of medication he
Hang on
needs?
just a second. You mean the guy who brings and puts air conditioning units, big window air conditioning units
In his limo?
So he can have a cold limo? He can't take the heat of a hot car that is parked outside of his office building. He takes an air conditioning window and window air conditioner and wheels it, had a device made to hold it up and wheels it into the window of his car so it can be cold when he gets in. You think that guy's going to wait a second for pain relief?
Nope.
Not a second.
He might not be number one necessarily on conservatives, list of annoying progressives, but man, he might be the most pure one in a way because he comes off sometimes as this. He used to be a Republican, but he's such a progressive. He's such a I know better than you guy, even more than sometimes like a Nancy Pelosi.
Remember, he's the guy. Oh yeah, he's one of the worst I think in the country.
Yeah.
He's the guy who actually he overturned the law so he could be mayor again.
Yeah.
He lectured Rudy Giuliani. Yeah. Nobody is bigger than the law. No one person.
But he is.
He overturned the law so he could run again.
He's the worst.
He is the worst.
He might be worse than that guy in
certain ways.
In certain ways.
I mean, he's about as bad and as blatant as it gets.
He's as bad, I think, as she is, as that guy's wife. She's the kind of person that she'll tell you exactly how many carrot sticks you need to have. And so is Bloomberg.
So will he.
That guy probably has the same feelings, but he's not as blatant about it. Yeah. This guy will just come out and say, you got to suffer some.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're going to take care of this problem and you're going to suffer some. No, I'm not. Thank the Lord in heaven for Texas. That's why we're out of Texas. Because this guy knows everything that you don't know.
Yeah.
Everything that he'll take care of everything. And you know what? Your business is going to suffer. Your pocketbook's going to suffer. Your wife is going to suffer in pain a little bit, whatever. But you're going to have to suffer a little bit.
And when we lived and worked there, it drove us out of our minds.
Out of our minds.
We don't have to worry about it as much.
Thank goodness.
Imagine advocating pain.
Yeah.
He's saying my policy is you should have more pain.
And again, his policy is that you should grow up a little bit. Pain's part of life, and you're going to have a little bit, but
not for him. Yeah.
We're doing something over here that's important.
Yeah,
So your pain doesn't matter.
Right. It's his stated consequence of his policy.
It's amazing.
Yes, you will be in more pain, but my stuff's important.
And his discomfort isn't even tolerable. That's why he had to have the window unit air conditioner in his car.
We should post that picture. We should post. We should do this story on the Blaze. We should post that picture. This guy's going to wait for pain management. There's not a chance in hell. This guy makes you break his leg. There's not a chance in hell that he isn't screaming for painkillers when there's the slightest discomfort.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He gets everything he wants.
He is exactly right, of course, but he's important. Mm-hmm. He's more important than the law or the little people. He's making things right for the vast majority collective. So he's important. That's the way progressives and dictators always work.